Have you ever felt like you had to shrink yourself down, to make yourself smaller, to apologize for your dreams, to whisper your desires instead of proclaiming them with conviction? Perhaps you've been taught that confidence is arrogance, that claiming your divine birthright is egotistical, or that stepping into your spiritual power is ungodly. This is one of the biggest lies ever told to spiritual people, and it's keeping you trapped in a powerless existence while your inner authority lies dormant. What you're about to learn will shatter every limiting belief you've been taught about humility, self-assurance, and spiritual strength. The difference between a destructive ego and divine authority isn't what most people think. Understanding this distinction will completely transform your ability to create miracles, control your circumstances, and manifest incredible results in every area of your life. The truth is, you weren't created to be small, weak, or powerless. You were designed to wield divine authority over every situation you face. The universe instilled within you the same creative power that brought worlds into existence. When you refuse to use this authority, you are actually disrespecting the very divine intelligence that made you. Divine authority is your spiritual inheritance, your cosmic birthright, your legitimate right to command the forces of creation in alignment with divine will. When you operate from this authority, you aren't being egotistical. You're being true to your authentic spiritual nature as a co-creator with infinite intelligence. The confusion between ego and divine authority has paralyzed millions of people who desperately want to create positive change, but have been programmed to believe that claiming their power is somehow wrong. Ego seeks to dominate others and serve selfish purposes. Divine authority seeks to serve the highest good and express divine will through a human vessel. Understanding that divine authority flows through surrender, not selfishness, changes everything. When you surrender your personal will to divine will, you become a channel for limitless spiritual power. By aligning your desires with the universe's plan for your life, you gain access to a supernatural authority that can move mountains and create miracles. The ego tries to control outcomes through manipulation and force. Divine authority works through faith, alignment, and trust in divine timing. The ego demands recognition and praise. Divine authority gives all the glory to its divine source, while accepting the responsibility of being a powerful conduit. Most people have been taught that humility means making yourself small, but true humility is recognizing the magnitude of the divine power working through you, and using that power responsibly. False humility denies your divine nature and refuses to use your spiritual gift. True humility acknowledges your divine authority, while remaining grateful for the privilege of serving as a vessel for infinite intelligence. You may have had moments when you felt an incredible spiritual power flowing through you, times when your words had unusual authority, when your prayers produced immediate results, when circumstances seemed to shift in response to your declarations. These experiences weren't your imagination, they were glimpses of your divine authority in action. The biblical story of Moses shows divine authority operating at its highest level through complete surrender to divine will. When Moses stood before Pharaoh, demanding the release of the Israelites, he wasn't acting from personal ego or human ambition. He was functioning as a vessel for a divine authority that could not be denied. Moses had spent years in the wilderness, learning to surrender his personal will to the divine. And when the time came for his greatest assignment, he stepped into a supernatural authority that commanded the forces of nature itself. With his staff, Moses parted the Red Sea, brought water from rocks, and fed millions with supernatural provision. His authority was so complete that his face literally glowed with divine power after encounters with infinite intelligence. Yet Moses remained humble, always acknowledging that the power came from the divine, not from his personal abilities. When people challenged his authority, the earth opened up, and supernatural signs confirmed his divine appointment. Moses demonstrates that divine authority becomes most powerful when personal ego is completely surrendered to a divine purpose, creating a clear channel for unlimited spiritual power to flow through a person for the benefit of others. Perhaps the most transformative understanding is recognizing that you dishonor divine intelligence when you refuse to claim your spiritual authority. The universe didn't create you to be weak, poor, sick, or powerless. When you accept limitation as normal or spiritual, you are actually rejecting the divine nature that was placed within you at creation. Your divine authority includes the right to speak health into existence when sickness tries to attack your body. Your spiritual power gives you authority over financial lack, relationship problems, and every form of limitation that tries to dominate your life. This isn't arrogance, it's the proper use of the divine authority that belongs to you as a child of infinite intelligence. Learning to distinguish between an ego-driven desire and a divinely inspired vision is essential for exercising authentic spiritual authority. Ego-driven desires focus on personal gain, recognition, and advantage over others. Divinely inspired visions focus on service, blessing others, and advancing divine purposes on earth. Take a moment to claim the authority that is already yours by divine right. In the comments below, declare, "I walk in divine authority." When you write these words, you aren't making an arrogant statement. You are acknowledging the spiritual truth about your divine nature and cosmic inheritance. Your written declaration activates the dormant authority within you and lets the universe know that you are ready to use supernatural power responsibly. The act of writing this statement breaks the false humility that has kept you small and opens the channel for divine authority to flow through your life. Another way to understand divine authority is recognizing that it operates through spiritual laws, not human effort. When you command circumstances through divine authority, you aren't forcing outcomes through personal will. You are aligning with spiritual principles that govern manifestation and allowing those laws to work through you. Divine authority never violates free will or seeks to harm others. True spiritual power always operates in love, seeking the highest good for all involved. When you use divine authority to create positive change in your life, you're actually blessing everyone around you by becoming a demonstration of divine power and action. Whether you love him or hate him, Jake Paul, the controversial YouTube star turned entrepreneur, exemplifies divine authority through his unwavering conviction about achieving success in completely new fields, despite universal opposition. When Paul announced he would transition from a social media content creator to a professional boxer, the entire sports world mocked him as delusional. Instead of backing down from the criticism, Paul operated with an unshakable divine authority. Knowing his vision came from infinite intelligence rather than his ego, he spoke with complete conviction about his inevitable success, attracting top-level trainers and high-profile fights despite zero boxing experience. Paul's divine authority wasn't arrogance, it was absolute confidence in the divine intelligence guiding his career transformation. His unwavering conviction eventually led to multi-million-dollar fights and legitimate recognition in professional boxing, demonstrating that divine authority expresses itself through unshakable faith in seemingly impossible visions, and persistence through universal skepticism. You may also notice that divine authority produces peace rather than anxiety. When you're operating from authentic spiritual power, you feel a calm confidence, not stressed striving. Divine authority knows that spiritual laws will produce the desired results, so there is no need for worry or force. The development of divine authority requires consistent practice in smaller situations before being entrusted with larger demonstrations of power. You learn to exercise spiritual authority over daily challenges, personal limitations, and ordinary circumstances before being given opportunities to create extraordinary miracles. Understanding that divine authority includes the responsibility to use power wisely is crucial for sustained spiritual development. The universe monitors how you handle small amounts of authority before entrusting you with greater levels of spiritual power. Every time you use your authority to bless rather than curse, to build up rather than tear down, to serve rather than dominate, you qualify for increased levels of divine power. When you speak divine authority into your circumstances, you must declare with absolute conviction, "I command this situation in divine love." This declaration aligns your spiritual authority with divine will and activates the supernatural power that changes circumstances according to spiritual law. Perhaps you've been waiting for permission to step into your full spiritual power, afraid that claiming your divine authority might be prideful or presumptuous. The universe is waiting for you to recognize that false humility is actually a form of pride that refuses to acknowledge your divine gifts and spiritual inheritance. The authority to heal your body, transform your finances, restore your relationships, and create extraordinary success belongs to you by divine right. When you claim this authority in alignment with divine will, you're not being egotistical. You're being obedient to your spiritual assignment as a co-creator with infinite intelligence. Another essential aspect of divine authority is understanding that it grows stronger with use rather than decreasing. Unlike natural resources that diminish when consumed, Spiritual authority expands every time you exercise it in faith. Each successful demonstration of divine power builds your confidence and increases your capacity for greater manifestations. Exercising divine authority also requires absolute faith in divine timing and method. You may know with certainty that a breakthrough is coming, but divine authority trusts the universe to accomplish results through supernatural means that go beyond human understanding. You may have been taught that asking for big things is selfish or unrealistic, but divine authority understands that extraordinary requests give the universe an opportunity to display supernatural power through your life. Small requests require small demonstrations of power. Extraordinary requests create opportunities for extraordinary miracles that inspire others to trust in divine intelligence. The maturation of divine authority includes learning to speak to mountains and expect them to move, to command storms and expect them to calm, and to declare abundance and expect supernatural provision. This level of spiritual authority seems impossible to a natural mindset, but becomes natural to those who understand their divine inheritance. Learning to carry divine authority with grace requires understanding that spiritual power is given for service, not personal advantage. The more authority you are entrusted with, the greater your responsibility to use that power for blessing others and advancing divine purposes on earth. You must also recognize that divine authority attracts both support and opposition. Those who are aligned with divine will celebrate your spiritual power and receive blessings through your authority. Those who are resistant may oppose your authority because it challenges their limited thinking and calls them to higher possibility. The ultimate expression of divine authority is learning to speak as one who has been given dominion over circumstances, rather than as one who hopes things might change. Your words carry creative power when they flow from authentic spiritual authority, not from human hoping or wish. Divine authority also includes the power to break generational patterns, overcome family limitations, and establish new traditions of blessing for future generations. Your spiritual authority doesn't just affect your own life, it creates new possibilities for everyone connected to you. But understanding divine authority without exercising it changes nothing. The universe has revealed your spiritual inheritance and cosmic authority, but you must choose to step into this power through faith, practice, and responsible use of supernatural gifts. The world is waiting for people who understand the difference between destructive ego and divine authority, who can wield spiritual power with wisdom and grace, and who can demonstrate that supernatural authority serves love rather than selfishness. The time for playing small is over. The season of false humility has ended. The era of authentic divine authority begins now. You must declare with absolute conviction and unshakable faith, I am a vessel of divine authority, and supernatural power flows through me for the highest good of all. I speak with spiritual authority, because infinite intelligence has given me dominion over every circumstance in my life. I command blessings, I declare breakthroughs, and I manifest miracles through the divine power that operates through my surrendered will. I walk in divine authority, because I am one with infinite intelligence, and together we accomplish the impossible through supernatural power that serves divine love.